You ever notice how the moment someone stops replying, your brain suddenly turns them into a rare, limited edition human being? Yesterday you barely cared, and today you're refreshing your phone like it's the stock market and your happiness depends on it. That feeling right there is what we're talking about today. Why do we chase people who ignore us? Why does silence feel louder than words? And why does a simple seen message hit harder than a breakup, a plot twist, and an identity crisis combined? This is the psychology behind chasing someone who ignores you, and this isn't a lecture. It's more like a late-night conversation when your brain refuses to sleep and starts replaying everything you've ever said. Think about this. You text someone. You actually put thought into it. You reread it twice so you don't sound too interested, but also not too cold. Confident but mysterious, and then you send it. After that, nothing. No reply, no typing bubble, just silence. Suddenly your brain goes wild. Did I say something wrong? Did they misunderstand my emoji? Are they busy, or are they busy ignoring me? This is the first psychological trap. Your brain hates unfinished stories. It craves closure. When someone ignores you, your mind doesn't register it as rejection. It sees it as an unsolved mystery. And instead of moving on, you chase the answer. You're not really chasing the person, you're chasing clarity, hoping that one more message, one more attempt will finally make everything make sense. Then there's intermittent attention, which is basically emotional fast food. Sometimes they reply, sometimes they disappear, sometimes they're warm, sometimes they act like you don't exist, and your brain gets hooked because unpredictability releases dopamine. It's the same reason slot machines work. You don't win every time, but that one small win keeps you pulling the lever. One dry hey from them can make your entire day better, while consistent love from someone else feels boring. So now you're not chasing love, you're chasing a chemical reaction, and your brain is mistaking anxiety for excitement. Another uncomfortable truth is that we confuse emotional unavailability with depth. Someone who ignores you feels mysterious, complex, interesting. Meanwhile, someone who replies clearly and consistently feels too available, too easy, or not exciting enough. Your brain associates effort with value, so if something is hard to get, it must be important. It's like wanting uncomfortable shoes just because they're limited edition. Add validation into this mix and things get even messier. When someone ignores you, it quietly challenges your self-worth and whispers, prove your worth, so you try harder, overthink more, and slowly start shrinking your boundaries, believing that if they choose you, it means you're finally enough. The irony is that the more you chase, the less attractive you feel, and the less attractive you feel, the more you chase. It becomes a loop. You stop being yourself and start performing. You become the version of you that waits, checks their phone, analyzes tone, timing, and punctuation. Why did they say okay instead of okay? Why no emoji? Why did they see my story but not reply? At this point, you're basically a full-time detective in a case that doesn't even want to be solved. And often this pattern has deep roots. If attention in your past felt inconsistent, conditional, or something you had to earn, your nervous system learned that love equals effort and silence equals normal. So being ignored feels familiar, while healthy attention feels suspicious. And let's be honest, ever notice how the person ignoring you suddenly becomes perfect in your head? You start romanticizing them like they're a misunderstood movie character. They're probably busy. They're just bad at texting. They're different how? Different at replying. You fill the silence with imagination, and imagination is always more attractive than reality. Reality would tell you something simple. If someone wants to talk to you, they will. Ignoring isn't mystery. It's information. Sometimes chasing someone who ignores you is also a way of avoiding real intimacy. Because if you chase someone unavailable, you never have to risk being truly seen. You stay stuck in longing instead of connection. It feels intense, but intensity is not intimacy. Eventually, the chase ends. You get tired, they pull away more, or you finally realize you're running after someone who isn't running back. That moment hurts, but it's also powerful. When you stop chasing, your mind gets quieter, your chest feels lighter, and your self-respect slowly comes back. You remember who you were before your happiness depended on a notification. The biggest shift happens when you stop asking, why don't they want me? And start asking, why am I trying to convince someone to care? That question changes everything. You're not weak for chasing. You're human. Your brain just wants connection and validation. But you deserve more than confusion, more than silence, more than half attention. You deserve someone who doesn't make you guess where you stand, someone whose interest doesn't feel like a reward you have to earn. And the moment you truly understand that, the chase loses its power, because the most attractive thing you can do is walk away from what keeps making you doubt your worth. And if this felt a little too accurate, don't worry, you're not alone. We've all chased the wrong person at least once. The real growth is knowing when to stop,